Instructions are not boring. Arthur, you know I don't like Cherry. Tell her to go suck an egg. No, 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 no.
A lot of you have been asking me to make spin-offs of FUDW. Like, a lot of you. A lot of you seem to think Francine Frensky is most deserving of the FU treatment, and I couldn't agree more. I think it's weird the show acts like Francine is one of Arthur's best friends, because that's not what she is. She's a bully. And you could say she only teases him because she has a crush on him, but that's not a valid excuse. And it never is. Bullying is bullying. Even if you don't think Francine is worse than DW, you can't sugarcoat her bad behavior. And I brought receipts. Keep in mind, these episodes are just from the first season of Arthur. So let's start off with the episode that, in my opinion, shows Francine at her absolute worst. This video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe and help get this video to 2,000 likes.
And I say, hey!
Mr. Ratburn's class is holding auditions for the school play. Arthur explains how every play before now has ended with someone beating the crap out of Francine, like when they reenacted George Washington cutting down a cherry tree, which never actually happened. And the time Francine played Isaac Newton getting head-bonked by an apple, which also never happened. Educational show my ass. Francine is hoping for a less dangerous role since she's already gotten her ass kicked 3 times within the first minute of the episode, though you'll wish it was more by the end of the episode. Mr. Ratburn asks his class what the play should be about.
Sue Ellen.
I don't want to do some girls' play.
Hey, no, bad. Sue Ellen suggests they put on a show about a bloodthirsty mucus monster, my kinda gal, while the brain practically begs Ratburn to let him make a rocket with his homemade rocket fuel. Look at that stack of notes he had on hand. Dude came to school with a plan. Thank God he's not the quiet kid.
All the other kids with a pumped up picture better run, better run.
Mr. Ratburn shuts down all their ideas and instead pitches his own play. If you were gonna do that all along, why the hell did you ask for suggestions? He suggests they do a play about Thomas Edison, even though none of his students, including the brain, have any idea who that is. Before auditions, all the kids ask Ratburn to give Francine the lead part, which no real theater kid would ever have the balls to do.
Could you give Francine a good part in the play? She's never had one.
What are you talking about? You said she was Isaac Newton in the last show. Who was the star of that play? Gravity? Surprise, surprise. Francine lands the role of Edison and it instantly goes to her head. She goes to the library to do research and is somehow shocked that Edison doesn't have his own section.
What does a man have to do to be considered important in this crummy library?
You are more than welcome to leave.
That night, Francine is fidgeting with the lights when she damn near gives her sister a seizure. She then checks out some of Edison's inventions and ends up ruining an expensive antique film camera.
Don't open it. You'll expose the film.
Over the next week, Francine goes full method as Edison by acting like an egotistical brat who takes credit for other people's hard work. She blows off her peers and insults her best friend directly to her face.
Without lights, you'd have to shop in the dark. Oh, sorry. I guess you already do.
Hot diggity damn. Francine grows cockier as she corrects her teacher in the middle of class and chews at her classmates during rehearsal for their inaccurate costumes.
You don't do it right. I'll uninvent you and then you won't be in my play at all!
Geez, where's a bucket of apples when you need one?
Ow!
The gang realize they've made a horrible mistake and come up with a plan to put Francine in her place. Buster is so upset that he momentarily switches bodies with the brain. Instead of asking Mr. Ratburn to intervene, the kids decide to confront Francine by themselves. Arthur tells Francine to quit acting like a total bitch. Francine responds by acting like a total bitch.
They're just jealous because they don't have my talent and winning personality.
The cast decides they've had enough of Francine's shit and decide to sabotage the show. During the dress rehearsal, the actors embarrass Francine on stage, shattering her fragile ego. Francine goes crying to Mr. Ratburn that everyone ruined her show. Arthur once again points out that Francine is not the boss of the show and she needs to cut the crap. Francine finally pulls her head out of her own ass and everyone forgives her, even though she never actually says the words, "I'm sorry." That night, the play goes off without a hitch. Francine thanks the cast during the curtain call, but can't resist the urge to also brag on herself.
They couldn't have done it without me either.
Shut up!
Also, can we talk about this crowd shot real quick? I get that animation is expensive and time consuming, but if you're gonna recycle characters for the crowd scenes, maybe don't put the star of the episode in the front row. Let's review. Francine got a swollen head after landing the lead part in the school play. A part she got not based on talent or merit, but solely out of pity from her teacher and friends. She became an overnight Edison fanatic, even though she clearly cherry-picked history to paint him in the best possible light. Cause if she had done any actual research, she would have realized Edison is a big fat phony. She micromanaged every aspect of the show and yelled at anyone who dared to stand in her way. And even after her friends called her out on her BS, she still couldn't stop herself from hogging the spotlight one last time. FU Francine. Now that episode was a good example of how awful Francine can be to everyone, but more often than not, the main subject of her ridicule is Arthur.
You take that back, Arthur Reed. I'm the nicest person you've ever known.
Let's look at one of the earliest episodes where Francine not only bullies Arthur, but ends up beating the crap out of him.
And I say, hey!
Arthur gets his first loose tooth and wakes his parents at the crack of dawn to share the good news. Arthur's victory is short-lived when he realizes he's the only kid in his class who hasn't lost any baby teeth. Even Francine is literally sneezing them out of her head.
We got scurvy, we need some vitamin C.
Mr. Ratburn shows the class a video on teeth where the Power Rangers beat the snot out of Barney. Francine interrupts the video to call Arthur a baby in front of the whole class, and somehow isn't reprimanded by Ratburn. Guess even he thinks Arthur is a baby. At lunch, Francine shows off all the cool tricks she can do with her mouth, while every kid watching at home with trypophobia is having a freaking meltdown. Things don't get any better when she suggests they all have a squirting contest.
Let's see who can squirt the farthest.
FBI, open up!
Francine pressures Arthur into playing and makes him squirt all over himself. Arthur is desperate to lose his tooth virginity. He ropes his dad into a scheme and has him cook his steak extra well done, which is a crime against God. My teeth hurt just watching this scene. DW says he'd have a better chance if he turned into a shark and shows off the tooth she got at the aquarium. Arthur steals DW's necklace and stupidly tries to pass it off as his baby tooth.
Seems awful big, though.
I've seen bigger.
Francine sees through Arthur's shark tooth charade and exposes him as a faker.
This guy's a great big phony!
Arthur is now hell-bent on getting his tooth out and begs Buster to punch him in the face. When that fails, Arthur turns to Binky, who's more than happy to oblige, until he gets put off by Arthur's dopey-ass grin and wimps out.
You got soft hands, buddy boy.
I can't do it.
Arthur lastly goes to the Brain, who offers to crush his head to a pulp with his latest invention, until it gains sentience and threatens to go full Black Mirror on the town.
Self-destruct! Self-destruct!
First the rocket fuel and now this crap. Nobody let this kid anywhere near TensorFlow. That night, Arthur's parents catch him abusing himself in the bathroom and force him to go to the dentist. Francine tells Arthur that if the tooth doesn't fall out, the dentist will have to yank it out. Jesus Christ. The dentist reassures Arthur his tooth will fall out when it's ready. This gives Arthur the courage to face his friends and stand up for himself. Francine refuses to tolerate Arthur's newfound self-confidence and tries to turn him back into the submissive cuck she knows and loves. Lucky for Arthur, it looks like everyone is sick of Francine's crap. Francine is so desperate for attention that she assaults Arthur's face with a soccer ball. She hits him so hard his tooth gets knocked out of his mouth. Arthur gives Francine the tooth since she's his personal tooth fairy, which means bitch better have his money. Let's review. Francine ruthlessly made fun of Arthur for being the only kid in class to still have all their baby teeth. She used the space in her face to embarrass Arthur every chance she got. When Arthur tried to get the tooth out on his own, Francine made him think that the dentist was going to torture him. And when Arthur finally stood up to her, she retaliated by socking him in the face and knocking out his tooth, which at any other school would be grounds for suspension. But not in the world of Arthur, where apparently hitting a kid doesn't amount to shit unless your initials are DW. FU Francine. So at this point, you might be wondering if there's any episodes of Arthur where Francine was actually nice to her friends. Well, the show actually tried that. I feel like the people making the show were worried Francine was starting to come off as a bully, so they made an episode where Francine had to be nice for a whole week. Guess how that turned out.
And I say, hey!
Arthur recalls all the stupid crap Francine has pulled over the course of her life, like the time she woke her neighbors at the crack of dawn with her god-awful percussion skills, or the time she used her bedroom as a canvas for her elephant mural. Huh, a monkey drawing an elephant. Go figure. But Arthur says that's still not as strange as the time Francine was forced to be nice for a whole week. We then cut to the kids playing roller hockey where Francine single-handedly creams the competition. Her teammates call her out for being a ball hog. Francine says she's the only competent player on the team and challenges the others to do better. The team goes on to prove Francine's point as Muffy fumbles the final shot and ends up losing the game. The kids skate home with their tails between their legs as Francine chews out her teammates for screwing up the game.
Why did you tell Muffy to shoot? You know she's just about the worst player there ever was.
And with that line, Francine loses any and all audience sympathy for the rest of the episode. Yeah, you know things are fucked when you start feeling bad for Muffy. Francine is somehow surprised when Muffy gets offended by her insults and goes to confront her. Muffy chews out the big-mouth bad sport for not sharing the ball and bullying everyone on the team.
I'm one of the nicest people in the whole school. And if you don't know that, you're a dope.
Okay, bitch. Actually, she might be right, though. Yeah, as much as none of us want to admit it, every character on Arthur has had their fair share of asshole moments. Some more than others, obviously. Muffy bets Francine she can't be nice for an entire week.
And you can't tell anyone why.
Francine takes the bet as she's keen on winning Muffy's Princess Peach watch. Wait, so the Mario Brothers exist in this world? You're telling me the show was on for 25 goddamn years and we never got a single episode of the characters playing Super Smash Bros? What a goddamn waste of potential. The next day at school, Francine is forced to bite her tongue when Arthur shows up wearing an eyesore for a sweater.
My other sweater's dirty, so I got stuck wearing it.
Damn, dude really does only have one outfit. Over the next few days, Francine commits to the goody two-shoe charade as she treats her friends with care and respect for the first time in her life. Francine's friends start to worry about her after Muffy ruins her favorite pair of pants and doesn't immediately get her ass kicked. Muffy delights in Francine's frustration as the ill-tempered twit has no outlet for her rage. Muffy strong-arms Francine into inviting her to dinner and forces her to be nice to her family, who are surprised the 8-year-old actually has manners. It's been over 5 days and everyone is terrified of what Francine has become. A decent person.
Arthur, I'm scared.
The brain explains how it's only a matter of time before Francine explodes in a fit of rage. Maybe don't shake the bottle like that, though. The kids decide to make Francine mad on purpose so she'll go back to normal. They do everything in their power to piss her off, but only manage to make her even more pent up than she already is. The kids fear Francine could blow her top at any time. Literally. Anyone else get nightmares from this scene as a kid? Like, it's not even that her head pops off. It's that the head keeps talking afterwards.
What a beautiful lawn!
Ugh. Arthur and Buster go to confront Muffy, who reveals Francine still has 1 day left to win the bet. Arthur realizes they'll have to play tomorrow's hockey game with the pacified Francine. Muffy realizes too late she's made a horrible mistake. During the playoffs, Francine goes full ham as she avoids playing and actively helps her competitors score on her own team. Muffy decides to call off the bet and offers Francine the watch. Francine gratefully accepts, but says she still wants to see the bet through. That is until Binky crashes into her and smashes the watch to pieces. Francine loses her shit and takes out her anger on Binky's team. Francine's team wins the game as her friends are happy she's back to her old bitchy self. Muffy goes to congratulate Francine, who's way too eager to start another fight. The girls make up and go to bully Binky into buying Francine a new watch. C'est la vie. Let's review. Francine refused to share the ball with her teammates and chewed them out when they tried to join in on the game. She insulted her best friend and was surprised when she got her feelings hurt. When Muffy bet her she couldn't be nice for a whole week, Francine used every bit of strength to not bite off her own tongue. Things only got worse when her friends started to worry about her and tried to make her mad on purpose. Francine took the bet so seriously, she actively tried to lose an important hockey game just to spite her best friend. And even when Muffy called off the bet, Francine refused to give her the satisfaction of getting mad, until it became personal. At which point she unleashed the fury of 1,000 suns upon the poor hockey players that had the misfortune of standing in her way. FU Francine. For this last example, I thought it'd be fun to look at the very first episode where Francine was a main character. Let's see if she was any nicer in this episode, or if she was always the big-mouthed brat we've come to know her as.
And I say, hey!
DW wakes up Arthur in the middle of the night to confront him about their long-lost brother. She shows him a photo album full of pictures of a boy with no glasses. Arthur calls out her dumbass for not recognizing that it's him. DW refuses to admit she's wrong, insisting that Arthur came out of the womb wearing glasses. Ouch. Instead of just going back to bed, Arthur explains to his slow-witted sister how he got his glasses in the first place. Flashbacks ensue. Back in the 2nd grade, the kids are in the middle of a math quiz as Arthur struggles to read the problems on the board. He tries to ask for help from Francine, who tells him to piss off. To nobody's surprise, Arthur fails the quiz and Francine jumps at the chance to rub salt in his wounds.
I guess math's not your best subject.
Anyone with 4 or more mistakes should see me after class for extra homework.
What are you talking about? The quiz only had 4 questions. And is this teacher not at all concerned that Arthur didn't even write down the correct equations? In gym class, Arthur loses a game of basketball to Binky and Sue Ellen, even though Binky should technically be in the grade above them since he's yet to fail the 3rd grade. And Sue Ellen won't move to Elwood City for at least another year. Episode 1, and already the timeline's fucked. The kids next take an eye exam, as Arthur proves he's 0 for 3.
MP7?
Francine remains on brand as she teases Arthur for going blind. The blurry-eyed aardvark takes a trip to the optometrist where he learns he'll need to wear glasses. Arthur picks out a pair of specs as he experiences his first main character moment.
There.
The next day at school, Francine wastes no time in ostracizing Arthur for his new glasses.
Arthur's a 4-eye.
Such an original insult. Seriously though, do kids nowadays still get bullied for wearing glasses? It's been a hot minute since I was in grade school, but I feel like calling someone 4 eyes or tin teeth is a form of bullying that died out in the 90s, along with wedgies and Indian burns. At lunchtime, Mr. Ratburn is in the middle of a stroke when Buster betrays his best friend to join in on the name-calling.
I'm Arthur.
What the fuck, Buster? You're better than that. That afternoon, Arthur tries to hide his face with a trench coat and ends up scaring baby DW, who's just as annoying even when she can't talk.
Huh?
Arthur decides he'd rather go blind than get made fun of. He tries to get rid of his glasses, only to learn you can't mess with a canon event. He tries to get DW to smash his glasses and ends up getting assaulted with her plastic hammer. Even at 2 years old, the bratty baby is too far gone. The next day at school, Arthur tries to go without his glasses and accidentally walks into the girls' bathroom. And based on everyone's reaction, you would think he just set the school on fire. Again, I don't know what modern bullying is like, but I feel like walking into the wrong bathroom is way more humiliating than getting called 4 eyes. Arthur accepts his fate as a lifetime loser until he learns his favorite superhero also wears glasses. He goes back to wearing his specs and shows them off like a badge of honor. Francine tries to torment Arthur and is surprised when her insults have no effect. The kids end up taking the same math quiz from 2 days ago, and Arthur aces with flying colors, even though he only turned in a blank piece of paper. He goes on to cream Francine in basketball, though maybe she'd have a better chance if she did more than just sway her arms back and forth. Francine is jealous of Arthur's newfound confidence and tries to mimic his look with a pair of fake glasses. What a poser. Arthur wraps up his story as DW stumbles across a photo of her dad with a beard. She jumps to the conclusion that her mom is hiding a previous marriage, and goes to wake her up to demand an explanation. Fan-freaking-tastic. Let's review. Arthur had trouble seeing, and Francine's first instinct was to make fun of him for it. She teased him at every opportunity and refused to let up, even when he had to go to the eye doctor. When Arthur had to get glasses, she singled him out in front of their whole class. Her bullying was so bad, Arthur decided he'd rather be blind than deal with her endless barrage of insults. When Arthur tried to go without his glasses, she ridiculed him for walking into the girls' bathroom and made him the laughingstock of the whole school. And when Arthur finally stood up to her and wore his glasses with pride, she tried to copy his style like the fake friend she is. FU Francine.
Wait!
I have a Patreon. Sign up at patreon.com/mattneff to get your name in the thank you credits, as well as early access to both FUDW and FU Caillou. If there's a movie or show you'd like me to talk about, top-tier patrons can commission a review for my channel. Check out the link in the description to become an FUDW superfan. Also, I'm now on Cameo, so make sure to check out my profile to get a personalized FU video.
And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. If you could learn to work and play.